tuning forks, they've got slightly different frequencies. And if you didn't notice it in the number value, you would have noticed it in the pattern of compressions and refractions. Important vocabulary. So, can anyone tell me, based on what they described within their group, what they would hear when these compressions and refractions are interfering and these two sound waves are actually hit at the same time? For those of you who are musicians, you probably know the concept of this. And I know, excuse me, and I know you've read about it as well. Justin.
It sounds very dissonant.
Like what?
Dissonant.
Dissonant. Well, that's a good vocabulary word. Describe that word.
You wouldn't hear a clear tone. You'd hear like la 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 la.
Good. So, dissonant. I'm going to put that up there. It's like not a clear tone. I like the wow, wow, wow sound. And actually, I had another student ask, like, does that sound right? And we're going to, at least if we have time at the end of class, we're going to test it out. But it's not a clear tone. And a lot of musicians try to tune their instruments by trying to listen for dissonant, or in physics we call it beats, where the sound and the tone is not consistent. It fluctuates. So fluctuation in tone. And generally when you're tuning your instrument, you have a tuner that you know is in tune, and then you, for example, a guitar, if you are trying to tune it to C, you want to make sure that when you are comparing the sound of the tuning fork or your tuning app, that it doesn't have these beat sounds. Because if it's slightly up by a couple of hertz, then you're going to get that wow, wow, wow sound. And then you can just adjust it a little bit to make sure that it gets that consistent tune. So it's used a lot in instruments. As you look at the image, you're noticing here, I want to practice some vocabulary. Here, at this moment in time, or at this position, as the wave is passing, what is happening? First of all, these are my compressions, and they're happening in the same moment. What is a vocabulary word that you must know for the test? I mean, I am going to have a vocabulary section. So what is it that's happening at this moment? Any thoughts? Emily? Constructive interference. And then we've got a position right here where we've got a compression and a rarefaction happening at the same time. And so that one would be obviously what? Destructive interference. And we know that it happens with waves. We know that it happens with waves on a string, waves on a slinky, the constructive and destructive interference. But we also now know that it happens with sound. And I'll show you a few videos. We'll do a few demos of constructive interference and what that actually sounds like. Any questions?